Have you ever felt like you're just running on empty, but you keep pushing anyway? Well, that is a one-way ticket to burnout. But here's the thing about burnout. It doesn't just show up out of nowhere. Your mind actually sends up these little warning flares long before you hit that wall. So today we're going to decode 5 of those signals so you can catch them early. Yeah, if that feeling of being completely overwhelmed hits close to home, then you are in exactly the right place. This is all about learning to listen to what your mind is trying to tell you before it has to start screaming. You see, burnout isn't some sudden event. It's more like a destination at the end of a very long, very tiring road. And all along that road, your brain is putting up these little signs, these warning flares, basically telling you, hey, maybe ease up a bit. The real trick is just knowing how to read them.
So we're going to zero in on 5 of the absolute clearest signals. Think of this as your new mental health checklist, a way to know for sure when your mind is practically begging for a break.
All right, first up, let's talk about memory. And no, this isn't about forgetting some major life event. It's actually way, way more subtle than that. So why do you suddenly forget where you put your keys or what you walked into the grocery store to buy? It's not you. It's your brain's bandwidth. Seriously. When your mind is just flooded with stress, its #1 priority is managing threats, not remembering the little things. So it starts dropping that small stuff first. Your memory for simple, everyday things is often the first casualty of an overworked mind. And, this mental overload, it doesn't just mess with your memory. It starts to spill over into your emotions, too. Which brings us right to our second warning flare, that rising tide of irritation. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? All of a sudden, the Wi-Fi being a little slow or not being able to find a document, it doesn't just feel like a small annoyance anymore. It feels like a massive personal attack. And here's what's really going on under the hood. The trigger, spilling your coffee, it's tiny, but the reaction is absolutely huge. That's because your mental battery is just running on low. Your emotional capacity, the part of your brain that helps you roll with the punches, is completely exhausted. You just don't have the juice left to handle those little frustrations calmly anymore. Okay, let's move on to sign number 3. Now, this one can be super confusing because it feels so physical, but its roots are actually somewhere else entirely. And this is where it gets so tricky. You get a full 8 hours of sleep, you do everything right, but you wake up feeling completely and totally drained. So you reach for more coffee, thinking, oh, I just need more sleep. But you might be trying to solve the wrong problem. Here's what's really happening. Your body might have gotten some rest, but your mind, it's been running a marathon all night, cycling through worries, to-do lists, and all sorts of stress. It never actually got a chance to shut down and recharge. This kind of exhaustion doesn't need more sleep. It needs real mental rest. Things like a walk in nature, meditation, or just completely unplugging for a while. So when your mind is that tired, what do you think is the next thing to go? Yep, your focus. And that brings us to warning flare number 4, a fractured attention span. You know the feeling. You sit down to work on something important, and then 2 minutes later, you're checking your email, then you're thinking about what to have for dinner, then you're scrolling on your phone, and you just can't seem to pull your attention back to what you were doing. Sound familiar? This is basically a picture of what's happening inside your head when you're overloaded. Your attention is just shattered into a million pieces. There's this tiny little slice that's actually dedicated to the task at hand. The rest, it's totally hijacked by a storm of distractions, worries, and just mental clutter. Your brain is jumping all over the place because it is simply too tired to hold on to a single focused thought. And finally, we've got our 5th sign. And honestly, this might be the most profound one of them all, because it's about a fundamental shift in who you feel like you are. Now, this is such a crucial way to think about it. When you start acting in ways that feel really out of character for you, it's not some new personality flaw. It's a biological SOS signal from your brain literally begging for a break. I mean, just think about the before and after. Your usual self, maybe you're super patient, but now, not so much. You used to find joy in the little things. But now that joy just feels distant. And motivation? Probably gone. Seeing it laid out like this can be a real wake-up call. It's not you changing, it's a symptom that's crying out for your attention. So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's pretty simple, really. We schedule breaks for our bodies, right? We go on vacations to rest physically. But we almost always forget that our minds are working nonstop 24/7.
They deserve and desperately need breaks too.
Think of it like this. Paying attention to these signs is an investment in your own future well-being. By taking a small break now, by noticing that slipping memory or that rising irritation, you can prevent the massive crash and burn of full-blown burnout later on. Your future self is going to be so, so grateful that you did.
And that really just brings us to the final question, the one that truly matters. Now that you've heard all this, just take a second and ask yourself honestly, are you listening to the signs?